Hola estudiantes, ¿cómo están? Espero que todo bien. Hoy es miércoles, el 27 de mayo. Vamos a ver qué tenemos para hoy. Entonces, lo primero, y veo aquí que los vídeos ya están. Así que enhorabuena. Yo voy a disfrutar mucho calificando, escuchando y viendo estos vídeos que tenemos aquí. Los vídeos y los comentarios, ¿no? Hola Jonathan, ¿cómo estás? Y toda esta gente, aquí tenemos a Kaden, todo bien, Abby, excelente, entonces bien hecho. Yo estaré viendo estos vídeos muy pronto, dándoles pues una nota. Mientras tanto, vamos a seguir hablando de una nueva tarea. Esta vez se trata de el amor. ¿El amor a primera vista existe? So this is your first discussion blog. There are only two. We're calling this number one. And notice that it has to do with el amor a primera vista, love at first sight, and also poema 20. So follow the instructions, as always, very carefully. And you'll want to post your original discussion blog, your original comments, and your responses to two of your peers, just like with the video, by the following deadlines. So your original post is due Sunday, May 31st by midnight, and then responses to two of your peers by Tuesday, a couple of days later, by the 2nd, again by midnight. So first part, Poema 20. In Lección 1, you discovered, probably for the first time, the poetry of Pablo Neruda, and you read one of his most famous poems, Poema 20. This is on page 31. For an alternative version, which adds visuals as well as music, watch the YouTube video below. So, just to refresh your memories, if we go back and we look at literatura, and you'll probably remember reading Poema 20, Pablo Neruda, very famous Chilean poet, one of the grandes de la literatura latinoamericana. And you have this really interesting poem that he wrote, and you actually have a narration. So what they give you is pretty good. But I actually prefer this other version, if I can get back there, that we just saw a second ago. And I always seem to get locked in here. So hold on a second. Let's see if we can go back. Bam! Okay. So this is a YouTube video. I'm not sure if you're going to get the audio and stuff, but I really like this because it combines film, music, it gives you the poem in Spanish, but it also gives you subtitles in English. So all of these different elements come together and you can really appreciate it. I think it's got a much greater impact watching it. So this is about 7 minutes. Typically I've got my sound turned off, but you can get an idea.
Puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche.
Sort of like old California. The silent picture days.
Escribir, por ejemplo, la noche está
Lillian
estrellada
Gish or somebody.
y tira tan azules los astros a lo lejos. El viento de la noche gira en el cielo y canta. Puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche.
I've had students who are so impressed by this video they've gone on to write term papers on it for other courses, so you might be able to use this in the future.
En las noches como esta, la tuve entre mis brazos. La besé tantas veces bajo el cielo infinito. Ella me quiso. A veces yo también la quería. ¿Cómo no haber amado sus grandes ojos fijos?
So we're not going to watch the whole thing here, but this is where it gets really interesting. Notice how it pivots. And all of a sudden, you're in a bordello. And you may recognize Rudy Valentino, the original Latin lover. And this is, this is authentic footage. Probably from the Gaucho, one of his early 1920s silent films that made him famous. And you can see the action unfold with this whole idea of love at first sight. Right? So, okay, so hopefully we're back recording, and you can tell my editing skills are not that good. So, after you watch the video, then you need to respond to the questions below. And remember, these are just opinions, interpretations. There's not like a right or wrong answer. So you're writing entirely in Spanish. And you want to make sure to include an embedded image with your post. So that just simply means that your image pops. It's right there. It's the first thing people see when they see your response is the image. So that's just what embedded image means. If you don't know how to do that, see the tutorial in the how-to folder in the student resources, but it's super simple. But the idea is that image captures your idea of what love means to you. And so here I have an example. This is one that I chose because at that time I was feeling, or I saw this and I thought, you know what, this is really cool. Opposites attract, they're so different, yet they love each other. So I really like that. That captured my idea of what love at that moment meant to me. So here are the two main questions that you need to address, in addition to including an embedded image. Número uno, ¿crees en el amor a primera vista? Porque sí, porque no. Explica. ¿Tienes algunos ejemplos, contraejemplos? So, do you believe in love at first sight? Why yes? Why no? What's your position? Explain. Do you have any examples or any counterexamples? And you may recall that this was actually addressed in Flash Cultura, in this little video that we watched on las relaciones personales. And you may recall that at some point, the host took you to a bar in Madrid, and he actually asked some of the locals if they thought it was possible to have love at first sight. I mean, is it a real thing? So he goes into the bar, Corazon Loco, and he asks the locals what they think about this. So.
Como ya has aprendido, es ir de tapas. Aquí en lugares como Corazón Loco, en las zonas populares es muy difícil entrar. Todo el mundo quiere estar aquí. Hay tanta gente aquí y todos quieren conversar. Tratemos de hablar con algunos. Y contanos, vosotros sois pareja, ¿verdad?
Sí.
¿Desde hace cuánto que sois pareja?
7 años.
Mucho tiempo ya, sí.
Sí.
¿Y qué tal os lleváis la relación? ¿Ningún problema en esos 7 años?
Hace un par de años pues tuvimos una pequeña crisis.
Sí.
Y ya estuvimos un año y pico sin hablarnos mucho, ¿no? Sin vernos por ahí.
Bueno, sí.
Bueno, sobre todo por el tema de celos, ¿no? Yo creo que es una cosa que aquí nos afecta bastante.
Yo creo que siempre los celos son una parte importante de la relación, sobre todo cuando se está empezando y demás, que parte que no te lo puedes quitar de encima, ¿no?
¿Crees en el amor a primera vista?
Sí, estoy súper segura de que el amor a primera vista existe perfectamente.
Sí, existe.
Hay amor a primera vista, pero yo creo que las cosas tienen que ser más organizadas.
Yo sí que creo en el amor a primera vista también. Creo en todo tipo de amores, con lo cual el amor a primera vista es uno de ellos. Sí.
Sí.
¿Fue amor a primera vista?
No fue a primera vista, fue...
Fue la segunda, ¿verdad?
La segunda vista.
¿Crees en el amor a primera vista?
Yo no. Yo creo que el amor a primera vista es imposible. Te puede gustar una persona o te puede atraer, Pero amarla, para amar a alguien hay que conocerlo.
¿Crees en el amor a primera vista?
No,
Oh,
no. A primera vista te gusta uno en una discoteca, pero...
Pero no es amor.
No.
interesantes opiniones entonces. So, we're part of the conversation now. And therefore, what's your opinion in Espanol? Believe in love at first sight? Do you have a situation that you can talk about? Maybe your parents, your abuelos? Has it ever happened to you? In theory, is it possible or no? Are other things necessary? Esta es la idea. Y luego, so that's the first one. The second one that you have to address, and don't forget, there's a second part right here. En poema 20, el poeta escribe este verso. Es tan corto el amor y es tan largo el olvido. Explica con tus propias palabras lo que significa este verso para ti. So, at the very end of poema 20, Neruda writes this verse. Love is so short, but forgetting is so long. What does this mean to you? Explain in your own words what this verse means to you. So that's the idea of this particular discussion blog. Again, your main comments, 1 and 2, plus your embedded image are due by Sunday. And then once people have their original comments up, you're going to go through them and you're going to reach out to 2 of your colleagues and respond and interact with those people. So again, there are 2 parts with 2 deadlines. So the real hard deadline, of course, is Tuesday, 6/2. So you want to make sure that you get that in on time. Bueno, yo creo que es suficiente por ahora. Si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor, pónganse en contacto conmigo. Si no, nos vemos muy pronto. Suerte con todo y hasta luego.